What's up, guys? Caleb here from Caleb and Chris Gaming, and welcome to our first duel review. In this series, we'll be taking weapons from our favorite video games and showing you why we use them and how we like to use them. Personally, I'm a stats guy. I love to obsess over numbers and percentages. However, Chris would rather not read the manual. He'd rather just kill people.
Alright, so the point of a duel review is to both save time and so that you get the best of both worlds. For now, this series is dedicated to Battlefield 4. But in the future, we plan on branching out to other games, such as DayZ and Counter-Strike. Of course, you may want to have a look below this video to see when it was published, because DICE is rolling out patches right and left, so things may have changed.
The AEK is fast. Only the FAMAS and the SCAR H are even comparable when it comes to the fastest time to kill. The AEK has more bullets per magazine and less vertical recoil than both of those rifles. It can also be reloaded faster than the FAMAS, provided you've left a bullet in the chamber. However, the Achilles heel for this weapon is the first shot recoil multiplier. This stat affects how easy it is to tab fire a gun and to hit faraway enemies. The higher the multiplier, the more base recoil there will be for each burst. Most assault rifles have a multiplier of between 2 and 2.5, while the AEK has been cursed with 3 times the recoil each time you start firing. It seems that DICE never intended the AEK to be as accurate or as easy to use at long range as it was in BF3. This means that picking off your enemies at long ranges is going to be extremely difficult. It's best to stick to close quarters combat and start working on your 1v2 game. Now, if you want to get the most out of the AEK in close quarters, here's a setup I'd like to suggest for you. First, the sight, pretty much always going to be the Coyote sight. Then I'm going to stick on the green laser. Hipfire is important for the AEK, and that green laser just makes it even better. Then we'll add on the muzzle brake. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the muzzle brake. Anything that adds an accuracy to a fast-firing gun is a no-no in my book. However, sometimes in the heat of battle, it is more important to concentrate on your aim rather than your recoil control. Hopefully that angled foregrip will cut some of the recoil from your burst fire.
As Caleb mentioned, this gun is great for close quarters combat. You can put a lot of rounds down range in a short amount of time. Where it really starts to lack is at any medium or long range. You start shooting and it's just uncontrollable because of that high initial recoil. And if you're doing small bursts, someone's probably going to steal your kill or they'll get away. This gun is a handful when you first start using it because of the fast fire and high recoil. So if you're new to games where you actually need to control the recoil, I'd recommend the muzzle breaker or practicing in the test range. This gun pulls mainly up and a little to the right, so pulling down and a little to the left should do the trick. And with practice, you'll have it down and it'll eventually just become second nature. Now in this gameplay, I'm just using the Cobra, Red Dot, and Angle Grip. I don't use the Heavy Barrel because, well, it doesn't need one. It's the AEK. You're not supposed to be using it at long range. You use it in close quarters. Anyways, I had the misconception that the muzzle breaker was good for Battlefield 4 when I first started playing it. Just took away all the recoil, especially for the SCAR H. But once you start playing a little bit more, you'll realize that you're losing a lot of long-range fights, and you just see someone, you start shooting them, and your bullets are just going everywhere, and you realize, well, it's that muzzle breaker. So you take it off, and you do fantastic. So if you can control recoil in this game, don't put the muzzle breaker on. It will help you so much. Standard barrel, excellent. Or if you want to be stealthy, go for the silencer, because all it does is slow down the bullet a little bit, which isn't that big of a deal at all. 900 rounds per minute can be a bit of a double-edged sword. Before you know it, you've mag dumped and you're doing the full reload. And when you're in a firefight or running away from the enemy, it can be a bitch. But, in all honesty, the fast fire rate outweighs pretty much everything else. This weapon definitely comes up in my top 4 overall weapons, and one of my favorite for close quarters maps. Competitive play, I usually choose the Ace 23 or the SCAR H because of the ranged abilities. We'll be reviewing both those weapons later, but for now, like if you learned something, comment below for any questions, and subscribe for future content.